How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be reacting to Poland. In this particular video that I pulled up, I seen in the description that is talking about Wroclaw, Poland, which is on my bucket list to visit. It's been on my bucket list for a really long time, um, because of the Christmas market that they have there. Unbelievable. I love it. I actually have a video that I reacted to about that video, which I will link it up here somewhere for you guys to watch next. And let's check this out. This is by Get Lost. He has, oh, here we go.
Pennsylvania, USA. I'm in the 7th grade, and it's Wednesday. Can you be connected to a country and not realize it? October 18th, 2005. Northeastern Pennsylvania, USA. I'm in the 7th grade, and it's Wednesday, the best day of the week. Why? Because Wednesday was pierogi day. A pierogi is simple. It's a Polish dumpling. It has an outer base of either bread or noodle,
Oh
and it
my
can
God.
be filled with anything. But the only version of pierogi that I was familiar with growing up was made out of noodles filled with mashed potatoes, boiled and smothered in butter and onions. I wasn't alone in my excitement either.
I love dumplings. It must be the breading that they have in their breading. Alright, so it must be the breading because chicken and noodles when I was in school was the best lunch ever. Um, and those look very similar. So
Lunch ladies knew how much we all loved pierogies, and I think they put it in the middle of the week so that we had something to look forward to on Mondays and Tuesdays. Pierogies were a huge part of my childhood, but I never thought about why that was. Cut to almost 20 years later, and I'm spending a month based out of Prague, and I'm extremely on the fence about using one of my precious travel weekends to visit Poland. One of the best parts about staying in Prague is that it's so centrally located within Europe. I had the option to go to so many places. Is Poland worth it? For some reason, something in me
yes.
eventually said yes. There aren't even direct trains to most Polish cities. So instead, I booked round-trip bus tickets to the nearest one, from Prague to Wrocław. Wrocław is hard to
Wow.
pronounce. It's not on many people's bucket lists. I would wager that a large portion of the American population has never even heard of it. I figured, I would walk around, get some food, get in, get out, check Poland off the list, and move on to the next destination. That's not how it went.
Absolutely beautiful. That is beautiful. I wish we had buildings and stuff around here that
Walk
look like
around, get some
these.
food, get in, get out. Check
The willow trees and I love that. That's beautiful.
Poland off the list and move on to the next destination. That's not how it went. I dropped my bag at the hotel and headed for the main square, called the Rajnik of Wrocław. I was starving, so I didn't even look around at my options. I didn't do any research. You wanna know a secret? I wasn't even certain that I was going to make a YouTube video about Wrocław. I'm serious, I mean, would anyone watch? Right on the corner of the square, I saw Stary Mirin
I've never heard of it before, so I don't know.
pierogarnia. They had just finished setup and were freshly open for lunch. Now, I had never eaten a professional pierogi. I sat down, opened my menu, and was faced with option upon option. Baked, boiled, fried, filling options for
Wow.
days, multiple sauce options. I went with the mega mix, which includes 4 boiled and 3 oven-baked pierogis. I got a couple filled with the standard mashed potato flavor, along with some filled with beef, some filled with pork, and all of them situated alongside some sour cream and cooked onions.
Those look so good. So is that what Poland is popular for? Is their dumplings? Um, They have many, many varieties, so guessing so. That is my type of food. So maybe I am a little Polish. I don't know.
First of all, quite simply, this was an absolutely astonishingly delicious meal. Now, we've already established how much I love pierogis, but it needs to be said that these were on another level. And, of course they were. This is a professional pierogi restaurant in Poland. What was I expecting? Now, I make a lot of food videos. If you spend any time on this channel, you kind of know that that's what I do. But it's one thing to eat food. It's another thing entirely for food to awaken a realization in you. It sounds dramatic, but I truly had a major
Really?
light bulb moment at this restaurant. What I realized changed the way that I was about to view my trip to Wrocław entirely. I started to walk around the square. I was full, I was happy. It was a perfect day. I think it was actually 72 degrees Fahrenheit and sunny, and I was noticing things differently now. Now, it's important to mention that I am not in any way Polish. My ancestry is almost entirely English with a little bit of Irish mixed in. Polish is not a part of my background, at least not in a genetic sense. That said, it's a little different in the environmental sense. See, the reason that we were fed pierogis every week in school is because the part of the USA that I am from in northeastern Pennsylvania is heavily Polish. Polish food and traditions are baked into society in such a substantial way that I sort of thought that that's just how everyone in America lived. Polish culinary traditions were passed on to me throughout
Wow.
my childhood without me even realizing it. From a traditional standpoint, this place might be the closest thing to home that exists for me in Europe. I quickly opened Google and searched most famous dishes to try in Poland, and I actually got a little bit emotional when I saw that most of them were just variations on dishes that I grew up eating. I went to a traditional pub called Bar Ubitki, where I had some delicious sausage with a side of potatoes. And because apparently that's not quite enough potatoes for one Polish meal, I ordered a side of potato pancakes as well. This took me
Yeah.
right home, right to the Plymouth, Pennsylvania Kielbasa Festival. I could not wait for my next meal. My curiosity was at an all-time high. The next day I went to a really cool restaurant called Restauracja Konspira to try cabbage rolls, or as my family would call them, pigs in a blanket. Now let me just say, this is a really fascinating place to eat. It's based around Poland in the 80s, a time in which Poland was trying to figure out its identity in the post-war, post-communist era. I highly recommend making a visit if you happen to be in town. The menu doubles as a historical magazine, which gives a really interesting backdrop to the experience, and the food is super affordable and amazing. I actually found a famous Polish dish called żurek that I ordered as my starter. It's made with a rye flour base and comes with pork and a boiled egg. Now, this was new, but I'd be lying if I said we didn't have something pretty similar.
Yeah, I was about to ask what that was, but he answered that.
Pretty often when I was a kid. The soup was great, the cabbage rolls were delicious. I intended to order them covered in tomato sauce, but I somehow accidentally got mushroom cream sauce. But you know, I took the opportunity to try a new version of a dish that was familiar to me. I'll stick with a tomato. It was Easter weekend, which meant that almost everything was closed. It's crazy how less than 24 hours before, I was unconvinced if I should even visit Poland, and now I was wishing I had picked a more opportune weekend to go. But you know what? It actually ended up being perfect. Without the museums, without the distractions, I was really able to just take in the city. I took part in a free walking tour, which I'll actually link below if you're interested in doing, which really helped me gain a better understanding of the culture and the history of Wrocław. Part of that was visiting the university area, where I learned that the sword being held by the naked fencing man statue is constantly being stolen and replaced. It's basically become a sport. I got to visit Cathedral Island
What?
on
What they call that?
and
The
replaced. It's basically become fencing. Part of that was visiting the university area, where I learned that the sword being held by the naked fencing man statue is constantly being stolen and replaced. It's basically become a sport. I got to visit Cathedral
that
Island
is so
on Easter
funny. So replaced with what, like other things, or with a different sword? Would like anybody that knows about that, please leave it in the comments below. I'm gonna need a little bit more information.
Easter Sunday and see all the local people leaving church on one of the two holiest days of the Christian year. I saw all the love locks in the area surrounding Tumsky Bridge and found it pretty funny
Aw.
to see how hard the city is working to stop couples from doing this. Apparently, multiple tons of locks had recently been removed. I took a boat cruise at the last second, and it turns out the tour was completely in Polish, which makes sense, I guess, in Poland. But I was just grateful that someone with a boat was open to selling tickets on Easter Sunday. I hunted for dwarves all across town. There are over 1,000 of these in Wroclaw. It's sort of their
What?
thing. You can buy a map
Okay.
and stickers to try and track down 60 of the most famous ones. They have an incredible story based around the Orange Alternative movement, which used peaceful protest to
See, that is cheap entertainment right there. If I was to take my 3-year-old son to do this kind of stuff, he would absolutely love running around looking for these little dwarfs. That is too cute.
combat communism in the 80s. Now, their symbol is everywhere, and it's probably one of the cutest and most original free family activities that I have ever seen. Watching the kids' joy when they found a new one was really adorable, and if you wanted, you could easily spend an entire day, or honestly, a week, just tracking these down. They're everywhere. After a full weekend of sailing and eating and dwarf hunting, I returned to the Rheineck in time for sunset, and against the backdrop of the gorgeous colors in the square, I couldn't help but dwell on this newfound connection to Poland. You can be connected to a country and not realize it. My bus was set to leave Wrocław in about an hour. Since it was Easter Sunday, there was only one pierogi restaurant in town that was open. It was Starry Mirin. With how much I liked it the first time, trust me, I wasn't upset to be making a second visit. I ordered some different pierogis this time, got them fried instead of boiled, and got honey mustard on the side to mix things up. Now, overflowing with potato, I headed for the bus, which meant that I
Okay, so is that why dumplings look like that sometimes? They kind of look like they're like doughy and soggy, um, because they boil it instead of frying it. Yeah, I would rather get them fried, I think, and then dip them in something rather than, I don't know. What's your favorite? Let me know down in the comments.
had the next 4 hours to think. The realizations that I had in Wrocław shook me. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't feel like many people go to a place and are surprised to find that they have a connection to it, like I did. Right? Most people know where they're from, and they're very aware of the influences of different cultures on their hometown. The irony of it all is that everyone from my hometown is so pro-America. They'll be taking a bite out of kielbasa in one hand and waving around an American flag in the other. They'll incorporate these very Polish foods and traditions into the everyday lives of their families and refuse to acknowledge the source. The United States was built on the backs of slaves and immigrants from all over the world. And yet, so many American citizens are uninterested in traveling to explore it. Less than half of Americans have a passport. Luckily, that number has improved
Wow.
substantially over what it used to be. But I think a whole lot of the overly nationalistic mindsets you'll find in the US, especially in Middle America, would shift if they had the chance to see firsthand the source of the traditions that they consider to be so American. Maybe if they did, we would start to see a country that is more open and accepting of others. Thank you so much for watching my story about Poland. If you liked it, I like you. I hope that you'll watch another. YouTube thinks that you will like this one.
So now I know Poland, Wroclaw, Poland, especially, is definitely on my bucket list. And I'm gonna make sure I go near Christmas. That way I can do the Christmas market and everything that he said in the video. That is super cool, and I'm going to be watching more videos on Poland. So if you guys want to learn with me, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.